This is a fourth stimulus check, stimulus program, and news update, giving you fact-based, fast-paced updates on a daily basis. Let's get into it. So Arkansas is holding a vaccine lottery for a prize of $1 million. They're the latest state to get into the vaccine lottery game, trying to increase the vaccination rates among their state. Maryland just announced their first winner for its vaccine lottery of $40,000 per day for the next 40 days, and then the last day they're giving $400,000. Let me know your thoughts on this down in the comments below. Are vaccine lotteries a good idea, bad idea? Really curious about what you think about that. Seems to be a growing trend among different states, though. Next, let's talk about how Republicans plan to send Biden nearly $1 trillion infrastructure counteroffer this week. So far, the Republicans have offered $568 billion back in April. Democrats came down to $1.7 trillion. Now this week, it's crunch time because we only have 5 days left in the deadline in terms of Republicans giving in their offer of around $1 trillion. Here's a video clip explaining more of what's going on with the infrastructure negotiations.
Morning, Joe. You're right. Republicans are hoping to turn inflation into a political vulnerability for Democrats. It was the first thing that Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell brought up yesterday during his weekly press conference with reporters. Other members of GOP leadership followed suit, and they pointed to rising prices as evidence that President Biden's COVID relief package was too big and that the economy just can't handle trillions more in spending.
We've got to get reasonable and real about spending, or inflation will be a problem, government stability will be a problem, the dollar will be a problem, and we don't want any of those things to happen.
The drumbeat will continue this afternoon. Senator Rick Scott is leading about half a dozen more Republicans to call on Biden to present a plan to deal with inflation. Scott is labeling this a crisis and a tax on working families. Meanwhile, members of the House Republican Study Committee have been learning about the CPI and voting up on price increases for commodities like lumber, cotton, and sugar. A memo that the group has been circulating this week explicitly urges lawmakers to tie inflation to Biden's economic agenda. Guys, they say it's something that can unify Republicans, but also something that's dividing the Democrats.
So it looks like Republicans are waiting till the last moment before the May 31st deadline, which is just 5 days away, to introduce their own package to see if a bipartisan deal can be made. If not, then it looks like Democrats are going to just go through the reconciliation process. Now, why is infrastructure important? Well, in order for the other things to happen, other stimulus programs like increase in Social Security, home buyers credit, student loan forgiveness, fourth stimulus check, which I'll get into later on. Before those things can happen, infrastructure is the obstacle in the way that needs to get done immediately so that we can move on to the more care infrastructure and human infrastructure. So Joe Manchin and Mitt Romney, among other lawmakers, are working up a bipartisan infrastructure backup. So they have about 4 Democrats, 4 Republicans working on this package, trying to get it done before the May 31st deadline and reconciliation happens. Here's Bernie Sanders talking more about that.
But the central question of what infrastructure means, is that difference so big that it can't be fixed through bipartisan negotiations and Democrats should just go it alone?
Well, look, I think most working class Americans understand that for the last 40 years, what the government has done is cater to the needs of the wealthy and large corporations. Rich are becoming much richer, while real wages for average American workers have gone nowhere over the last many, many decades. And I think what we have got to do now, John, is start paying attention to a struggling middle class, a struggling working class. What does that mean? It means that at a time when half of our people are living paycheck to paycheck, we have got to create millions of good paying jobs. That is rebuilding roads and bridges. We've talked about that forever. But it is also having to deal with the existential threat of climate. How do you not deal with climate when the scientists tell us that the very future of the planet is in peril? And furthermore, when I think about infrastructure, of course it means education. How do we lead the world unless we have, in a competitive economy, world economy, the best educated workforce in the world? Of course it means childcare. Of course it means healthcare. And I think we've got to expand Medicare to cover dental, eyeglasses, hearing aids. And of course it means dealing with income and wealth inequality.
Senator, with ambitions like that, which the president shares, how do you do it through a bipartisan process? Aren't you going to have to go through reconciliation just with Democratic votes?
That's probably right. And I think that's what the American people want. We would like bipartisanship, but I don't think we have a seriousness on the part of the Republican leadership to address the major crises facing this country. And if they're not coming forward, we've got to go forward alone.
Next, let's talk about the fourth stimulus check. So as the fourth stimulus check gains momentum, records show that 1.2 million unspent direct payments are out there, which means that there is around $1.7 billion in the first, second, and third stimulus checks that have not been cashed in yet. But let's talk about the fourth and potentially fifth stimulus check as well. So this is gaining new momentum in Congress. Past few days, actually past few weeks, it's gained more momentum. There was a little stagnant period where nothing much was going on. Now there's over 80 lawmakers who are for it, and it's not just a one-time payment, but a recurring payment. So two people who are involved in one of the stimulus check packages would be Representative Rashida Tlaib as well as Pramila Jayapal. They want the $2,000 per month until the pandemic is officially over, and then $1,000 recurring monthly payments for an entire year after that. Now, in terms of popularity among the people, the petition for the change.org site, which is for the $2,000 per month, that's at around 2,235,000 signatures so far. It's not growing as fast as it was a little while ago. I think it had a little uptick. So in terms of support, we have 80 lawmakers, over 80 lawmakers in Congress. And in terms of public support, 65% of people support direct monthly payments. But will it happen? It hasn't made it into the American Families Plan or American Jobs Plan or any mention of it at all. But the same thing goes for increase in Social Security, home buyers credit, student loan forgiveness. A lot of those things that Congress members are trying to promote hasn't made it into any bills yet, but I'll keep you updated on that. So far, we don't officially know if there is going to be a fourth stimulus check or not, but I'll keep you updated on any news that comes out on it. Next, let's talk about how Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, aka AOC, urges Biden to cancel $50,000 in student loan debt. So far, President Biden has not mentioned his campaign promise of $10,000 in student loan forgiveness. He did leave it out of the budget bill, which is coming up, but AOC is saying that it can be done through executive order. Here's a video clip of her explaining more about that.
I'm knocking on wood here, but there has been broad consensus that he does in fact have this legal authority. And so he's asking the Department of Education to issue a brief and essentially acknowledge formally in a documented form that he does in fact have, I believe, and I sincerely do believe that they will tell him that he does in fact have the legal authority to cancel student loan debt. And so what does this mean now? Where are we at right now? He has asked the Department of Education to issue this review and brief. And last I checked, I believe that they're in the process of developing that brief and review. And I believe that once the Department of Education comes back, again, knock on wood, but very hopefully saying that he does in fact have the legal authority to cancel student loan debt, he can do it without Congress, with the stroke of his pen. Then once they release that brief, then it's on us to then triple down on our organizing and to get him to do it. He has expressed some talk around a $10,000 level. I don't think that that's enough. We need to push him. I believe in full student loan debt cancellation, but we have to push him to, at the bare minimum, a floor of $50,000 that Senator Warren and Senator Schumer have also advanced. And $50,000, I believe, would cancel about 80% of the student loan debt in the country. I believe in a higher threshold.
So what do you think about this? Should student loan debt be canceled, be forgiven? Should it be $10,000, be $50,000, or nothing at all? What are your thoughts on this? So my wife and I, we don't have any student loan debts, but my wife just finished paying hers. I think it was almost 5 years it took her to pay off her nursing school debt. So we totally feel the pain with that. But let me know your thoughts on it. Next, I'm going to answer the questions you leave for me in the comments. Matt Hill asks, what if you don't have the experience that they are looking for if you try to get a job? So I'm assuming you're talking about unemployment, how they're going to start making you try to get a job before you could continue on unemployment. In terms of experience, it looks like they'll just match you in terms of getting a job. John Bruce asks, Will the regular unemployment stop as well, or just the extra $300? Referring to the 23 states who canceled the $300 unemployment boost. So that is just the federal $300 per week. Your state unemployment benefits will continue. It will not be touched or lowered or canceled. It's just the $300 per week, which is starting mid-June to early July. Mark Ellers asks, does your mortgage have to be a federal loan, or can it be with a private mortgage benefit from this program? So I just had to take a quick look just to verify, but according to what it says in terms of qualification, it does not say just federal mortgage. It's actually, I guess, private mortgage as well. So if you do have a private mortgage, looks like you could, and you meet the other qualifications, you may be able to qualify for that up to $10 billion in mortgage assistance going throughout all 50 states. So that is all the stimulus news I have for you today to hopefully brighten your day a bit. Here's my daughter Bella's tip of the day.
Hi guys, this is Bella. This is the tip of the day. I want to tell you that something that you should really do. Like if you make a mistake, learn by experience and make mistakes. And I see you in the next video. Hi guys. Monster don't say that. Hi guys, I wish them breathe and see I could. Bye.
And just a quick personal update. So we got to fly kites the other day at the beach. It was the very first time my two daughters were able to fly kites. We got them at a birthday party from the week prior, and we decided it was a windy day at the beach. We went and flew some kites. It was really cool. Once he set it up, the kids were just like playing with the kites. It was actually a really cool experience. Do you ever fly kites? I actually haven't done it since I was a kid. But anyways, if you want to check out some more stimulus updates, click this link down over here. Or if you want to check out my other channels, check out this link up here. And I'll see you in the next video. Take care, be safe. Thank you for watching.